do it.
As much as I think it's the under is a safe play, like I can't even.
Count them up. Count them up. How many games are gonna win this fall?
I can't fathom 8 wins.
How many games are gonna win this fall?
I just can't. I don't see it. It's not on there. It's not the schedule I'm looking at. Unless there's another schedule somewhere.
The Miami Hurricanes are 12-13 through 2 years of the Mario Cristobal era, and they have a win total for the 2024 season of 9.5 wins over at FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can make every moment more over at +138, under at -170. Danny, we've seen Miami now show up inside the top 25 of the preseason coaches poll. They are inside the top 25 of top 20 even as well of the CBS Sports 134. They have a schedule that has some games based on the talent level. They are going to be favored, a lot of them. Do you think that they can get over 9.5? Where do you start your analysis here?
I am in on the Canes going over 9.5. I think they're 10-2. Worst case, I feel pretty good about this one, which is kind of making me nervous because I feel like I'm buying the cheese. I'm just taking the cheese all day long. Yeah, exactly. But Tom and I had a nice discussion yesterday on his power list of quarterbacks, his top 10 quarterbacks. I thought it was an egregious omission. We will see what happens over the course of the season. Cam Ward is a quarterback who throughout his career has thrown for 119 touchdown passes and added another 16 rushing touchdowns as well. This, to me, is the position they've been lacking. The closest thing they've had to it was when De'Aaron King was there. They were a 10-win team that season. I think this – and, like, when was the last time they had a roster that was this talented from top to bottom, both sides of the ball? I mean, it's been 15 years maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe 20 years that it's been this much talent. I think it all comes together for the Canes this year. I think the schedule sets up nicely. There's clearly some potential hiccup games. I do think, the Florida game, it is probably my most intriguing game of opening weekend because I think so much hinges on it. Like, if they lose that game, it kind of terrifies me in this bet, because I could see that kind of imploding. Similar to last year, they lost Georgia Tech. It cost them 2 games. I think a loss to Florida could cost them, not against Florida A&M, but there might be a hangover effect. But I'm all in. I think this is a complete team. I think Mario, we talked about this the other day too, about him getting in the way of quarterbacks. Sometimes you can't get in the way of a guy who improvises as much as Cam Ward. So he might want to dial it back a little bit, but Cam's a playmaker. I'm all in on the Canes.
Over for me as well. Yeah, to me, this is the best roster in the ACC. Mario Cristobal's challenge is to not screw that up. I mean, they clearly pushed all the chips in this year, right? This is their year that they're trying to go for it. And I think Cam Ward is a massive improvement over Tyler Van Dyke. I think the receiving core is really good. They like Sammy Brown, quite a bit. They're favored in 11 or 12 games, depending on what you think of the FSU game down there. They are double digits in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, now I like Miami in different types of bets. Like, I think Miami to win the Natty is a interesting bet, because if they're good enough to actually get it all together, then this talent level is very high. Like, they have the body types that you see on like a Georgia or an Alabama or an Ohio State at a lot of positions, not all. Secondary is the real question there, I think. And interior offensive line, we'll have to see. Losing Matt Lee, the center, to me was a pretty big deal. We have to see how the kid they got from Indiana replaces him. But
good.
I'm over here.
Over. Not the most confident. I've got them projected for 9.6 wins, so I'm not actually going to be betting it. But yeah, like, talent is not the question here. Like, this is a really talented team. The question is going to be the coaching, and that is always going to be the wild card with the Mario Cristobal team. And Danny, that's why Cam Ward is not in my top 10 power rankings for quarterbacks, because you say Mario might just have to let him go because Cam likes to improvise. Mario might just bench his ass if he improvises too much. So, like, you don't know which way it's going to go. So I do think over is more likely, slightly, not betting it. But, man, Chip, you better come with an under, or else we're going to be labeled a Canes pod all of a sudden.
I mean, if you're 9.6 and we're plus 38 juice to the over, that's a pretty good bet.
Is it plus 38?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's what I'm saying.
I'll be right back.
I told y'all yesterday that in my dummy analysis here, the win-loss toss-up analysis, I had I had 5 teams that I am right on the number. And I've got Miami right at 9.5, but forced to choose one way or the other, I'm going to go under. And like my forced to go, if I am right on 9.5, then I have to go intangibles, and that intangibles are going to be the fact that there's a game somewhere that is at a minimum going to be closer than it needs to. And then like potentially worse could end up going the other way. I love what this team could be. I am interested to see how it plays out. I don't want to put this bad energy out there, but they don't leave the state of Florida for a long time. Then, maybe they're sitting there at 5-0 with wins over Florida and Virginia Tech. And they got to get on a plane and go to Berkeley. And Cal has a week off to get ready for them. Maybe it's Cal. Or maybe they get there and they're 6-0 and they go into the off week and everything's great. And then they have to go play at Louisville, a team that, I'm not like super bullish on, but last year they went into an off week feeling good about themselves, came back and couldn't get the job done at North Carolina and Chapel Hill, another road spot out of an off week. Florida State is going to be a game on the other side of that. That's got their attention. I don't need to bring back the memories of Georgia Tech. 10-2 is absolutely in the mix here, but forced to go one way or the other. I'm going to go to the under, and I will acknowledge that it is not at all because of the talent, because I'm glad you mentioned Sammy Brown, because I think that's where I look at these wide receivers and the passing game with Cam Ward, and I think the pieces fit well together. That with Jacoby George and Sammy Brown, Xavier Restrepo, who's been dynamic from that slot inside position over the last couple of years, that, yes, I could see Cam Ward being the ACC player of the year, but Florida is going to be that game is going to be the hottest, sweatiest, stupidest game, a no discipline, talent loaded, like give over under 4.5 personal foul penalties in that game. Like over under 2.5 clock management errors, both teams in that game. And it's week 1, too. That game to me is as toss-up gets, and it will probably come down to something stupid. And when you've got enough stupid potentially in the mix, I'm gonna go slightly under here. But again, I've got them 7 certified wins, 5 toss-ups, 0 certified losses. They go 12-0. I could have seen it happening. They've just won all their toss-ups.
Grant stole my line. I was going to say 1.5 for shoes thrown. He put it at 0.5. So well done, Grant. We were thinking right.
I mean, and first game jitters, all the extra emotion that's packed into that. I mean,
hot seat galore. I mean, there's hot seats everywhere. Oh,
all the seats are actually going to be hot.
The seats are actually melting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be quite a scene there in Gainesville for that in-state rivalry renewed.